Sports Betting AI SEO. Today I'm joined with Karl Hudson, who has successfully built out a lot of different iGaming websites. But if someone owns a sportsbook brand and they're looking to improve being cited and being recommended by AI, the main ones being Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini, places like that, then how would first and foremost, why is it important for sportsbook brands to be looking specifically at AI SEO?
Yeah, so this would be very similar to like the casino side as well. You know, there's a lot of negative stigma and negative associations with brands when it comes to any form of betting platform, really. And it's super important from an LLM point of view because they tend to not like to recommend negative brands. They're not going to recommend stuff that, you know, there's a chance of someone being scammed, etc. So it's very important that you stay on top of this and obviously, you know, turn it around. So if you do have big wins, like we were just mentioning, you know, if you have big wins, it is a case that you should be shouting that from the rooftop to get that everywhere, social media, press releases. You could even go as far as, you know, doing guest posts yourself on that and the reasons why people should, like, basically define the whole entity, and the entity being the name of your brand or the name of the website, and then, you know, defining who owns that, what company's behind that, who are the founders, how many staff. You could even go as far as, you know, because there was a lot published online with the PLCs about how much money they're kind of earning and things, if you wanted to go to that level of depth. But again, that's, you know, then you can go into the different brands that they offer, the different, if they have casinos, if they do horse betting, cricket, football, what type of sports they do, then defining what type of bets are within those sports. Obviously, you will definitely know a lot more about. I'm not very clued up on horse betting, but Dooley will know a lot more about
so with
horse
regards
betting.
to horse racing, there's Lucky 15 bets, Yankee bets, treble, nap of the day. There's lots of different sports betting bets of what can be done. On football, there's first goal scorer, both teams to score, half-time, full-time bets.
Corners.
Yeah. You can do bookings. You can almost back anything now.
Just make it up.
and stuff like that. The bet builders are massive when it comes to football as well. So yeah, there's lots of different types of bets. And connecting those comes back down to what you do. So I want to try to move it back to with regards to AI SEO. And someone goes and does a search for who is the best sports betting brand for football? Who is the best sportsbook website for horse racing? And how it extrapolates synthetic queries, which is known within AI as query fan out.
Yeah.
And obviously me and you have sat down and we've studied the query fan out for a long time. And we've come up with something called the AI reputation tree. And the 4 pillars of the AI reputation tree is who you are, which you just said you need to define the entity. The what you do, you've just defined then all the different types of sports like horse racing and football, probably being the biggest 2. You've got golf, you've got darts, you've got cricket and many other sports of what you can bet on. Why you freaking brilliant is the next. So I want you to try and expand on that in a second of why the freaking brilliant is important, because you've just touched upon the negative stigma of bad reviews, but why it's important to be making certain you're shouting from the rooftops when someone gives a 5-star review and getting that out there on press releases and stuff like that. And then the comparison part at the end. So why you are better than competition. So if you was Bet365 and someone's potentially looking at going do a sign up to Bet365 or Sky Bet, Bet365 realistically should be as an off-page AI SEO strategy, being doing a comparison of saying why they are better. They should be looking at all the advantages of why Bet365 is better than Sky Bet. If you're Betfred and you're Fred Dunn and you're the bonus king, why you might be better than Paddy Power. And then he should be then doing all those comparative terms and the listicles of why those betting bonus pushes of what they do is the best in the marketplace. So I want you to go back and go through who you are, what you do, why you're freaking brilliant, and why you're better than competition, and explain for AI SEO why they are the 4 pillars of AI SEO for sports betting.
Yeah, so with LLMs, it primarily will work off entities, and if it doesn't, it will hallucinate It needs to understand what an entity is, and it needs to then, based off these pillars, that's how it understands what an entity is. You're almost defining, what that company is, what they do, who they are, who talks about them, what they're known for, why they're reputable, and any social media that they have around it, any awards, accreditations, and that's kind of how it works. So to not focus on any of those elements is almost suicide when it comes to sports betting and sports betting AI.
So with regards to that then, with regards to sports betting, right? So someone's coming along, they're listening to this now and they're saying, okay, I want an AI SEO expert. Okay, I'm going to now order the AI reputation tree, right? And they go out and they go and order it. And they order the 4 different pillars, which is what they really need to be doing because of query fan out. So they order the entity. They then order what they do, so the entity attributes.
Yeah.
They then go in shouting from the rooftop with press releases on reviews, testimonials, case studies, and awards. So the case studies would be like big jackpot and big wins, and shouting and screaming that they give an extra 50% bonus on a lucky 15 bet and stuff like that. The comparison articles, the listicle articles, and they say, James, this is a really competitive market, and I've gone and done it. And you come back from Searcheroo and say, you've done 1 round of it. Explain the reason why in competitive markets like sports betting, they might need to do a round 2 and a round 3. If it's a local plumbing site, they wouldn't need to. But in this market, which is competitive, why building that consensus and maybe having a round 2 and a round 3 and building more consensus off of why you are freaking brilliant and why you are better than competition, why that building the consensus is key to get higher rankings and more rankings with the LLMs.
So it's kind of similar analogy to what we used to use in backlinks. If you imagine let's say you've got someone in your house and or you need something done in the house. That's probably a better adjective. So let's say you need a wall built. You're then going to ask for recommendations. And if a person has 100 recommendations of friends and family and things, and then someone has 10 recommendations, chances are you'll go for the 100. And that's kind of the same philosophy with the consensus. The idea is that the more entities around the web, the more documents within the pool of knowledge that it has that mentions you, it is that recommendation.
So almost like on a backlink, people used to obsess over DR.
Yeah.
It sounds like the AI overviews and the LLMs kind of look at consensus of number of positivity around, or number of mentions of why Bet365 is better than Ladbrokes, or Ladbrokes is better than Coral, or Coral is better than Boyle Sports. And it builds it on a number kind of system and says, there's a lot of people out there that said that Coral is better than Boyle Sports. Therefore, we now have enough information to confidently say that Coral Bookmakers is better than Paddy Power or Boyle Sports Bookmakers. Is that correct?
And I would also say it's also not impossible to change that as well. So, a lot of the sports betting brands will have a negative sentiment, but especially if they're not keeping on top of this right now. And don't be put off by the fact that maybe the AI is either not recommending it or it recommends you poorly. So, this isn't a choice that you should not go here. You can change that round, and that is what the AI reputation tree is all about, is helping you control that narrative and actually get on top of it. So then over months, years, you can expand on it and keep on expanding on it. And guess what? It only grows stronger.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone who's watching this, make sure you reach out to searcheroo.com if you're looking for better sports betting visibility. Make sure you fill in the contact form and explain that you want the AI reputation tree. Myself or Karl will reach out and come back and get all the information of the data from the entity, your competitors. We'll be able to put something together to help you start being recommended more by ChatGPT or Google AI Overview. We hope you like this on Sports Betting AI SEO. Karl, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.